Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, it's been a little break for us since the last video of Riverbend Springs, but we're now back. We've got a new schedule of what we're going to be doing, and hopefully it kind of works out for this year. So in our first few videos, we've got how-tos describing, about the game, what is in the game, what you can do, and obviously the crops in this video. That's why you're watching. Everything about the crops, how you grow them, how you would maintain them, how you harvest them, and what you can do once you've harvested them as well. Obviously there's going to be quite a lot of videos coming out pretty soon about how to do kind of everything basic in the game. We haven't done anything with the field in front of us. As you can see, we've just ploughed it and left the case over there. There is all of the equipment there, but we're going to come around to that in just a minute. So along with this kind of videos, we're going to have Let's Plays, we're going to have our top 10 maps or mods I would say every month we're going to do that. We're also every quarter, so every 3 months, we're going to have mod and map reviews as well. We're hoping to have a few videos of mods every week. We're going to have maybe 2 to 3 videos of that. They're going to be in the shorts format because I think we can do 3-minute videos on that now. And there's also going to be some funny things like challenges for fast farming. How big machines can we go? How fast can we get them? Silly videos like that too. But for this one, let's crack on with it. So this one's the guide for crops. What crops is in the game, what you can do with them, how to harvest them. Obviously the field, as I said before, it's only fertilised 50%. We've done nothing with the field apart from use that case, ploughed it, and then planted straight in with almost all the crops, I think it is. So starting off over here, we have the olive groves. Pretty easy to get them going. All you do is go into your store menu, go into construction, and down to the factories here, the second menu option. Scroll across to cultivation, and then here you have your grapevines, your olive groves, and the rice fields, which we'll come back to in a minute. So the olive groves is fairly easy. You just figure out where you want to start it. So you could do it this way if you wanted as well. The first click starts the row, and then obviously click it again, finishes, and you can move along a little bit and do another one as well. As you can see, when you start to make really big ones, say here, that's about $10,000 there. If you've got 10 rows of that, that's $100,000. So it gets very expensive very quickly. Grapevines are the same, but they're kind of more restricted. I'll show you here. If we just click down and do one vine there, the next vine I can place anywhere I want. I can do it that way if I want, or I can go off over there. It doesn't matter the angle. But with this first one in the middle here we've already placed, as I move my mouse closer, it stops. So there is a limit to how far you can get them distance-wise to each other. And that is to allow room for the harvester to come through. Now we'll come back to the paddy fields in just a minute. This is just showing you what they look like when you've made them. So that's the grapevines. We will obviously skip through the months to show you now. Obviously they're all planted and from when they're ready to harvest. So in here we've got every crop kind of ranging up through the different things. This ones are all done with a seeder, which we'll come back to in a minute. We've got the wheat, the barley, oats, canola, oilseed radish. A quick thing about oilseed radish here, this cannot be harvested. It is only a cover crop. So you'll plant this, wait till it gets to the harvested state, then we will either cultivate or plough it in, and that gives you one stage of fertilization. So you can't do anything else other than use it for a cover crop to give you that stage of fertilization. This is grass, then we've got peas and spinach. They can all be done with the drill or the normal seeder, which is somewhere over, I think it's hooked onto that tractor over there. We'll go up and see that in just a second. And then for planters, you can do corn, sorghum, sunflowers, soybeans, sugar beet, cotton, and green beans. So that is all done with the planter. In fact, I think this is one of them here. So that's our planter. So that'll do that last set of crops we spoke about. And the seeder is all the way over here. Went past it too quick there. And that is our seeder. The difference with them, if we go into the store here, where are we? So seeding here, that's your seeders, which when you click on every one of them, it will tell you what it can plant or seed at the bottom. So obviously you've got the wheat, barley, oats, canola, long grain rice, which we'll come back to. There's your oilseed radish, the grass, peas, and spinach. And then planters, I think they're all the same here. There was one different one there. So that one can actually do canola as well. Other than that, it can do corn, sorghum, sunflowers, soybeans, sugar beet, and cotton and green beans. So that is the planters. We have another couple of rows here. So this one is the vegetable planter, which is actually sitting there. We'll go over to that in a second. So the vegetable planter gets you carrots, parsnips, and red beets. And then our final bit of equipment will get us potatoes, which is a slightly different texture on the ground as well, if you noticed between them. So the vegetable planter is here. That does your parsnips and your carrots and red beets. And that is the potato planter as well. So depending what you're wanting to do, obviously this just does potatoes, so it's quite specialist. Same with the potato harvester, it will only harvest potatoes. So you need to think of what you're going to be doing before you invest some money into purchasing the small seeder or planter, because it could end up costing you quite a lot in the long run. Now over here we have rice paddies, which has got raised edges. I will say, if you are wanting to do this, I will quickly show you. So again, down to the second menu here, and then move across to cultivation, and it's this one here for rice fields. As you can see here, this side is very high and it looks very uneven because obviously once they're flooded they need to be level. So if you are placing this, don't place it on a hill, try and find the flattest area of land you can. So to start the field, you left click. Now there is grass here, you can kind of see the line there we've got. You can make this field any kind of shape you want really, it doesn't matter. And then at the end you can click close there, and then to finish it right click and that will select the field. As you can see, it has raised the ground again because it needs to be level. But that's how to place the rice paddies. So in here we've got long grain rice. This can be done with that normal seeder. It doesn't need any fancy bits of equipment, just a normal in-game seeder. But you need to have the field dry. This is the difference with the two rice crops. Once this has been planted like now, we'll skip forward a day, then you can flood the field, but don't do it beforehand or you will not be able to plant it. The rice, on the other hand, needs to be flooded, then you can plant into it. So a bit of a difference there. And again, this needs a specialist bit of equipment for planting and harvesting it. So there's two bits of equipment. The long grain rice can be done with a normal harvester. So we'll quickly have a look through the different bits of equipment we've got in the game for harvesting, and then we can jump through the days. So first up, harvesting. Just the normal combines. We've got a couple here from the selection. We've got the Case AF11, I think this is the X9 John Deere, and the Claas as well, which I think is actually still running. I left it running. So the difference is there's a few headers here, and we'll just run through them quickly. So this one's a normal header, just a standard 13-meter header, and it will do wheat, barley, oats, canola, soybeans, sorghum, and long grain rice. So these combines with that header will all do long grain rice. This one's slightly different, the Sunlight 40 from Geringhoff. So it will only cut sunflowers. So again, this header is a specialist thing. It will only do the one crop. At the other side of all this, we have the Northstar 1830, which will do corn and sunflowers, but only that two crops. And finally, the Milostar. That one only does sorghum. So you've got to choose which crop you're going to be doing and pick the correct header. All of these headers here, these four, all work with the combines. Obviously, the smaller the combine you go, the smaller working with header you're going to have. On to something new for FS25, we have swathing. This is a little different. I've never used them before, so the information here is just going on what I've tried and from what I've seen so far. So the swather is the MacDon just at the back here. It basically collects the crop up and puts it into a swath behind it there. But it doesn't take, it's got no grain tank, it's not like a combine, it just grabs the whole, like if you've got the wheat crop, it grabs the whole, the straw and the wheat as well, puts it into a swath down underneath it to be picked up later on. So the header here, the D140XL, will do wheat, barley, oats, canola and soybeans. This one here, the R216SP, does the same as that one, but it additionally does grass as well. This one just cuts it and puts it into a swath behind it here. And finally the PW8 does wheat, barley, oats, canola, soybeans. But this one is for picking up. This actually connects to the combines. So you can use that combines with them headers up there. And you can also use it with this one here. But for using the swather, the MacDon swather, you need to use that tool or this one. But this one goes onto the combine and that's for picking up the swath that has been left by either of these two headers with that MacDon swather. So there's quite a lot to take in with this. Over here we've got the foragers. So another selection here, we've got the Fendt, the New Holland, and in the middle we've got the Krone. So there's different headers that obviously is different colours and types, but they all essentially do the same thing. The one we've got on here is the X-Collect 900-3, which will do corn, wheat, barley, oats, canola, sorghum, soybeans, and sunflowers. But it does it as a whole crop. So all of these are going to go through the swather, but they're for whole cropping as silage. So you can grow a whole field of wheat, use this machine and header, and it whole crops it up for you to take away as almost like chaff to put into a bunker to ferment. So that is the difference between that one and using a combine to harvest it. This one's the X-Disc 620, which does grass, wheat, barley, oats, canola, sorghum, soybeans and sunflowers as well. The only difference with this one here, the EasyFlow 300, it only does grass, but it will pick up the swathed wheat, barley, oats, canola and soybeans. So obviously, once you've used the MacDon there and made the swath of the wheat, barley, oats, canola or soybeans, this will pick that swath up. And you can run it through these machines again as a whole crop for silage. Moving on now, we've got the slightly different bits of kit that we're not used to. They're brand new to FS25. This is 3 oxbow machines. They're very expensive and they only do 1 crop each. So not very efficient if you're just starting out looking to make money and work your way up. The best way, I think, is to use a very cheap combine, very cheap header, and work away with your crops that way, or do some grass work. So this one here, the MKB4TR, is a spinach harvester. So it will only harvest spinach. It has an onboard storage tank, so you just drive up like a combine and it empties into you. This one is $635,000, so it is not cheap. The next one we have here is for green beans, the BP2140E. Again, $498,500, and it only does green beans. Again, an onboard storage tank, the same as this one here. You pull up like the combine to empty into it. The last one here, we've got the EPD540E. It does peas only and is $571,000. So again, they all do individual crops or root crops. Well, not these aren't root crops. Spinach, green beans and peas in that order. But they only do the 1 crop of each. This one's sugarcane. I don't think we've actually got sugarcane planted. But this one is $349,000 and will only harvest sugarcane. You do need to have a trailer behind it all the time or beside it to load into, because it does not have onboard storage. So bear that in mind if you're putting a worker on it, you need to be beside it. Whereas the oxbow ones or any of the harvesters, apart from the forage harvesters, you can set a worker away and just go and unload it when it gets towards full. The foragers and this, they need to be beside all the time to catch the crop. They've got no tank for the crops. This one's one of the new ones, the DeWolf ZKIV SE. This one's the self-propelled version of this harvester. The difference is, this one needs a tractor to pull it. It doesn't need to be very powerful. You will need to stand beside it or have a trailer beside it to load into because again, there's no storage tank, but it's only $43,000. This one is $637,500, so very expensive. The both of them can do the red beets, carrots and parsnips, but only that 3 crops. Moving over, we've got some even bigger equipment here. This is the Grimmy Ventor 4150, and this is the potato harvester. So again, this is a 1-crop deal. It only does potatoes and that's it. So that's all you get from that one. And last up for the big machines, we have the Homer Terra Dos, which does sugar beet and red beet, so only the 2 crops there. They are very expensive. Let's take a quick look at the prices. So for this one here, the potato, that Ventor, is $599,000. There is a couple of different options for each of the categories I've shown, apart from the Oxbow ones, which is this 3 here. It is only that one single machine for each of the individual crops. So bear that in mind. But the potatoes, $599,000 just for the machine that does just potatoes. That is all it will harvest. And our other one is the beet harvester, which I believe was the Terra Dos, this one here. Again, sugar beet and red beet is the only 2 crops it can do. It has onboard storage, but it's $685,000. There is another one up from that. The same thing, sugar beet and red beet, and just $1,000 short of $700,000. So they are not cheap. Moving on to one of the final ones here, we have our 2 Grove harvesters, which is the olives and the grapes. This first one here, the 9070L, that one is a grape harvester and it comes in at $242,000. It will only harvest grapes. There is a good side to this as well. We'll get to that in just a second. This one here is the 9090X olive, which again only does the 1 crop, olives, and it is $306,000. But there is a slight advantage here. This one only does grapes, as does this one. And if we go into olives, this one only does olives. However, we have this new one here, and it's cheaper as well, $253,000. But if we look at the bottom here, it does grapes and olives. And if we go into the grape harvester section, they both do grapes, grapes and olives. So that you can get the one machine to do both, which is maybe worthwhile doing, especially when it's cheaper than each of them. The last one up we've got is this little one here. This is our rice harvester, so that is new to FS25 with the rice paddies we've got. This isn't for long grain rice, it will only do the rice in the wet paddy fields. So this is for harvesting that. It's the Izeki HJ6130 and it's only $95,000. We can quickly check up in here. So it does have a 2,000 litre onboard storage, but as you can see here, the darker coloured rice is normal rice, and if we jump up here to a normal header, we can see along at the end here, it's lighter coloured, almost white. That's long grain rice. So that's your difference. That's how you know the difference between the two of them. And last up for our machines is cotton harvesting. The 2 main differences with this machines, one is price. One is so much higher price than the other. And one of them allows you to unload partial bales. This is important when you're doing a contract. So the John Deere, the CP690, is $847,000 and it will not let you unload partial bales unless you have mods, but we can come back to that in a different video when we do mod reviews and showing where I get my mods from and the ones in the farm mod hub as well. So this one, $847,000, but it will not let you unload a partial bale. This one from Case, which is the Express 635, will let you unload a partial bale and is only $485,000. When I was speaking about the contract, if you use the John Deere one, you'll get so far around the field that it'll unload a bale and you maybe get 3/4 of a bale in the harvester that you would need to take to a sell point to complete the contract. but it not being able to unload partial bales without a mod will not let you do it, which means the contract is stuck open unless you cancel it and pay money for cancelling. Whereas the case will let you unload if you've got 3/4 of a bale in the tank. You can unload it. Once you stop the machine, you need to have the machine stopped as well. If you can't see it in the menu, which will show up on the top left here when you're in the machine, if you stop the machine first, it will say unload partial bale, and it will let you do it and allow you to complete the contract. Right, that's enough with the machines. Without further ado, we are going to go for a quick sleep. We will see you in the morning, where we can see the first stage of growth for all of our crops. Okay, so we're now in day 1 of the crops being in, and you can see some growth here. We'll put on this pump just now so we can flood the field now that we've already done the work we need to in there. So you just go up to it, press R, and it says here, water level too low, flood the field to avoid crop damage. Now once you clicked flood, it does it itself, you can go away and leave it. But to make it speedy, we're going to fast forward time. So we started at 8 o'clock and the water goes off at 8:30. So it doesn't take long at all to fill the field. Now if we go back in here, it says water level 53% and it doesn't say there's going to be crop damage now. I don't know when the cutoff would damage the crops or when you can first put water in, i.e. once you've planted in there, you can maybe put water in within an hour, within 10 hours, within a full 24-hour period, I'm not sure. And here we can see they have drank all the water we put in yesterday, and they're looking very vibrant and green as well. That looks fantastic. So if we come over here, again, stand beside it and press R, and it says here, water level too low, flood the field again. So this is the second flood we've had for this field. Again, we're going to fast forward time quickly, hopefully for just another hour. Any second now the water should stop. There we go. And if we go back into here, water level is now 66%. So we're going to find out, because we've never done this before. So we're going to find out at the same time you are watching this video, if we need to flood this every day to keep the water level up to a sufficient amount for them to feed or to water the rice. The same with this field, we'll have to keep an eye, check on that every day as well, and make sure they have enough water. When you jump into the field, it doesn't actually tell you the water amount on the bottom right info box either. That would have been a good thing to have, so you can quickly run up just the corner of the field. If you've got huge fields, you don't have to run up to the water pump every time to do that. But let's take a look at some of our growth. First up is potatoes. The weeds, I will quickly mention this as well. We're not running seasons, so the seasons do not affect us, so that we could plant everything at the same time. If you are running seasons, there will be you will see a different screen. If I remember to put one in just now, I'll put a quick overlay up on the screen just now to show you what it looks like with a crop calendar. So you'd have a planting window, like your barley you could plant within 2 or 3 months, and then it would be the next year you would be harvesting it in a 3-month window as well. And in here, we've turned seasonal growth off. The snow is off as well. The crop destruction, the periodic ploughing, all of that is off. So we won't get any weeds in the fields, we don't have to tend to them, that's a different video. Same as the lime, that's part of our field prep video, field stones as well, and the periodic ploughing is part of field prep. Crop destruction, if we turn that on, all it does is if you've got a tractor with wide tyres and you run over, it's not really affected just now in the first stage of growth, but once the crop gets a bit older and it's more mature, if you drive through the field, it will destroy the crops where you've driven. So you have to watch that when you've got that turned on. So this is red beets. We're just going to quickly run through each of these. I don't know why they've planted like that. I did go straight up and down the field. That is parsnips. It's done it here again as well. That is your carrots. Very uniform rows there. And then to what we drilled in. Note this is one of the last ones. This is green beans, cotton, and sugar beet, soybeans, which looks very good already just in the first day. It will also tell you we've only done a 50% fertilization on this, but we've got a 72% yield bonus. I'll talk more about the yield bonus in our field prep video and how to get it to 100% to maximize your yield which again, the more you get in yield, the more you're going to make when you come to sell it or put it into productions. That was sorghum. Corn, which is the last one of our planter. Now we're on to the drilled crops. So we've got the spinach here. Peas, which look very... It looks like quite a lot have either died or not germinated. Either that or they are going to make up for it next month. They're going to look a lot more healthy. But this is the first stage. The grass here, it's growing, but it's not ready to harvest. I think it will be ready tomorrow though. Oilseed radish, it says withered here already. So if we jump into our menu, and we can see this line here is our oilseed radish. So if we go here, it's ready to harvest. So if you're not playing with seasons, that's ready to harvest already. And then the one next to it here, this dark green, is grass. So next month that is going to be ready to harvest. So now you could cultivate or plough this in, and it will give you the first stage of fertilization. Because you've already got 50% on this field, when you cultivate this in, you will have 100% fertilization. And then you can plant whatever you want in it, roll it, do anything else if the field requires it. So if you ploughed this in, you may need to lime it. So keep an eye on that, but that's in the field prep video. There's more about that later. That's your canola. Oats, none of these have been rolled as well. We're not into doing the field prep just now. That is barley and wheat. And now if we come over here, we can see a little bit of growth here for the grapes. They're looking well. And our olive grove. I don't think there's anything yet. There's no sign of life yet, but they are growing. It's only been 1 month. And we've obviously seen the rice fields. So let's just skip through the days quickly. I'll take a little screenshot of what's been happening each day, and we will see you when all the crops are ready to harvest. Well, that's the stats in now. It's taken us 9 days, or because we're running 9 one-day months, it's taken us 9 whole months. We're now through into April. So we planted everything here on day 1. Day 2, oilseed radish was ready. We flooded the long grain rice and the rice field as well. We'll do the rice first to get them out of the way. Day 3, we flooded both fields, the rice paddies as well. Day 4, we flooded the long grain rice here, but we couldn't flood the rice field. And on day 5, the rice was ready. And there was no way to water the long grain rice either. And on day 6, long grain rice was ready. Now for the crops here, day 2, oilseed radish was ready. Day 3, the grass was ready. Day 4 was spinach. Day 5 was olives, oats, peas, sorghum, green beans, carrots, parsnips, and red beets. Day 6 was potatoes, which are up at the end there, but you need to remove the foliage. So obviously you need to have some sort of topper for that first before you run the machine over it. Or if you've got the self-propelled one over there, it's got the topper on the front for doing that. That was day 6, and long grain rice was ready, so was the grapes. Day 7 was corn and soybeans. Day 8 was wheat, barley, sugar beet, which you had to remove the foliage on, and the sunflowers. And day 9 was canola and cotton. If you noticed in the screenshots, the corn, before it turned this golden colour, it was still green. That's when you would use the forage harvester to cut it for silage. That's the best time. But now that everything's ready, it took 9 whole days, but we're now there. Now we need to do a little test with the different harvesters we've got and find out the yields per field, which we're going to make. Probably cut down some here. We are then going to section off a specific size of field and plant the whole thing with each crop and see what the yields are for that area. I don't know if it's going to tell us here because it's not a big enough area, I don't think. No, so it's not going to tell us the yields for any of these. No, it's not going to tell us the yields. Right, we're going to section off a little bit of the field here, do another little test, and we will come back with all the information. You all obviously know now how long it takes to get each ready without seasons. Just bear that in mind. If you are running seasons, you can only do it in set windows, so there is, you know when it's going to be ready. If you plant on the first day of the planting window, it's going to be ready on the first day of the harvest. Same as if you plant on the last day of the planting window, it's going to be ready on the last day of the harvesting window as well. So that's where you can kind of plan out what you're doing and when to do it. Right, let's go and get this next bit set up. We'll see you in a little bit and we'll see how much these crops yield. Well, that's us completed the small test from this field. We decided not to make one our own size. So this field here is a 0.74 hectare field. Everything that we've got the prices of and the yields came from this field, so every time we put in the crop it was the exact same size, so we got the exact amount we needed. So we're going to put some figures up on the screen. There's going to be the yield from that 0.74 hectare field, the straw, if you can use it, obviously it's barley, oats and wheat that produce the straw. That will be up on screen as well. There's going to be the best sell price time and the month that it sells in. And finally, we've converted the figures so that we've got the profit you would get from 1 hectare of that crop instead of 0.74, but that's being sold at the best sell price. So if you had a full hectare field and you sold it all at the best price what your yield was, that would be the price you get. We're going to list for the hectares. I'll also note just now that we did full fertilization, it's been ploughed, limed and it's ready, so we've got 100% yield bonus as well. So all of these figures are a 100% yield bonus. Out of the 3 that produce straw, oats produced the most by 53 litres. As you can see on the screen as well just now, grapes was a $239,000 cost to put the vines in, and if it was a full hectare field it's around $323,000 for that. Olives, for the olive grove, it cost $303,800 to put the grove in, and a field of a hectare size would be around $410,000. So it is not cheap. As you can also see, we've done the conversion for silage as well. So we've taken the same literage of silage, converted it for a hectare's amount, and if we sold the silage at the best price, which I haven't actually listed here, I'll put that up on the screen separately, it came to $29,850. So you're nearly tripling your profit from the grass just by putting it into silage, either into bales and wrapped or into the silage clamp. The only other thing to note here is the poplar. When I did the test, I used the dev tools and filled the whole field. So it populated about 3 times the amount of poplar. So we've done the two yields. So the first one's 300,000 litres. The best sell price is 1,600. That won't change in January. So it's a $662,500 profit for that yield. However, when you're planting it normally, you'll get about a third because there's gaps between the rows. So this one obviously filled row after row all across the field. So averaging it out, we'd get about 100,000 litres at the same sell price in January. It was $1,600. You would get $220,000 per hectare. So now if we move on to the swathing as well, because we did swathing, there's quite some interesting things here. So on this same field, with the same 100% yield bonus, we did wheat, and we used, if we can find it here, because we've got all the machines scattered about everywhere, we used the MacDon swather there to swath up the crop, and then we used the X9 combine with this MacDon header for the pickup. And wheat gave us 15,144 litres and 58,000 litres of straw. So it's an increase of 3,028 litres of wheat and 10,800 litres of straw. So a big difference there. Oats, there's the same with that, 9,699 litres and 58,484 litres of straw. So it's an increase of 1,940 litres of oats and 11,145 litres of straw. Barley was 16,320 litres and 58,698 litres of straw. So there's an increase of 3,252 litres of barley and 12,476 litres of straw. So in this case, it was oats before that produced the most straw. It wasn't by much, it was about 30 odd litres. Now if you swath it, barley's going to get you the best yield for straw. And canola, 9,746 litres compared to 7,800 litres, so there's an increase of 1,851 litres. And the same for soybeans, swathing it up, 7,657 litres compared to 6,126 litres. So there's an increase of 1,531 litres. So after doing all of this testing, what is the best crops. In fact, before that, we will give you the prices for the wheat, the barley and the oats, without the straw and with the straw. So starting off, we've got barley. All of this is based on the straw price being the best at $147 per 1,000 litres in December. So barley without the straw is $1,101 per 1,000 litres. With the straw is $1,248 per 1,000 litres. So at the best sell time for the barley and the straw, you'd have to sell them separately in some cases. It's $9,172 for the straw and $19,377 for the barley. Over 1 hectare, that's $28,549 with the barley and straw being sold. The oats is $1,866 itself without the straw per 1,000 litres, and the straw $2,013 per 1,000 litres with the straw. So using the best sell time for a hectare's worth of field is $26,814, and then wheat $1,191 just the wheat for 1,000 litres, and with the straw is 1,338 litres. And again, selling wheat at the best time with the straw as well, it gives us a total for a hectare's worth of $28,925. So the best yielding crop we've got so far is poplar at 300,000 litres per hectare. If the field is filled, if you're not filling the field and it's done properly, it's only 100,000 litres of yield, which pushes it down to the third best. So if we're doing that, we're not doing poplar because it comes in at the best selling and best yielding. Best yielding at 300,000 litres, best selling at 662,000. It will obviously still be one of the best selling ones, even if you did it at a third of the rate, which would still come out to $220,000 per hectare. But if we take out poplar and we don't include that, our first best yielding crop is sugarcane at 156,300 litres per hectare. Carrots is second at 103,600 litres per hectare. And third is parsnips, 99,300 litres per hectare. And finally, the best selling crops. Again, if we exclude poplar, it's sugarcane is the best selling, $79,800 per hectare. Sugar beet comes in second at $78,600, so there's not much between that two. And then the third best selling is peas at $66,400 per hectare. The most consuming crops that you can plant is going to be the root crops and the new carrots, parsnips, and that is solely due to the working width. The newer crops we've got with the potato harvester has onboard storage. This is the next issue. The carrots and parsnips, they don't have onboard storage. We spoke about this earlier. It's this one here. So this has no onboard storage, so you need to be beside this machine all the time while it's working in the field, which obviously ties you up because we don't have, at least not yet, until courseplay is a thing and it's all developed up and ready to go and it's out of the beta testing. Courseplay would be the go-to to set the worker off with that, and you can put a worker in a tractor to sit beside it throughout the whole field. But until then, you have to sit beside this vehicle all through the field with the carrots and parsnips. So it is very time consuming, only being a 3 metre work width. Some of them are slightly wider at 4 metres, but yeah, very time consuming for that indeed. So I think that kind of wraps up the crops, the machines you can get. We've given some of the prices, what they do, what they can't do, and obviously swathing. So now that you've got all that info, you can take that into your game and see if you can start making some really good money. We'll end this guide here and we will see you for the next one, which is probably going to be field prep, where we'll show you how to get, it doesn't show up just now, but it's getting it to 100% yield bonus, doing all of the steps, and we'll show you each of the steps individually, what you need for ploughing, how it works, when to do it. Same for cultivating. There's shallow cultivation as well, there's power harrowing, mulching. There's a variety of stuff to do to get to that 100%, as well as your fertilising and lime as well. So thank you very much for watching this guide. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope it's given you some insight as to what you could do in the game and what crops are the best ones to go with. So we'll see you in the next one for our next set in the series of guides and how-tos for FS25. But if you did find this video interesting and it helped you out, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and it'll keep you informed of any videos we post upcoming, which will be a lot of guides and how-tos like we mentioned at the start of this video for FS25. So if there is any changes with any of the figures that we've got from this test, that will be in the first pinned comment, but because the game's been out for a few months now, there has been updates already and changes. I think what I've found now is going to stick right through the whole game. If it does change, I'll update the comments if I remember to go back and do it. But that is the test finished up with. We've got our figures, we've got what we needed, and you've seen most of the equipment, or if not every bit of equipment we need to do the harvesting and to do with the crops. So next up, we will go into field prep and we'll try and achieve that full 100% yield bonus. So we'll see you in the next one. And remember, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.